Initial reaction, the scathing DOJ report on the Phoenix Police Department. It was a 126-page report, 34-month investigation into abuse allegations at the department between 2016 and 2022. The report also includes some instances from 2023 to 2024. Heard it today, come down the Broomhead Show. We've given you wall-to-wall coverage, live and local, and now it's our turn. This was brutal, man. We knew it was going to come down today, Bruce, but I didn't think it'd be anything like this.
Yeah, it's scathing, brutal. I don't know what other words you can use, but when it comes to DOJ reports on police departments, this is one of the most damning that we've seen across the nation. Because the DOJ has done this in other cities, but this one really attempts to paint the Phoenix Police Department in a really bad light.
Yeah, and listen, I am unapologetically pro-cop. As I've always said, any instance, I start on the side of police and work down. I know you and I are different on that, and that's okay. But there have also been many times where I said, that cop needs to get fired for A, B, and C. Okay?
And by the way, Phoenix Police has fired cops.
No doubt.
Right? Discipline them.
When you read this report, you don't know that the vast majority of cops in Phoenix are good. And that's what bothers me. This thing reads, this report paints all cops as bad cops. It makes the Phoenix PD sound just as corrupt as Joe Arpaio. And that's not true.
Well, it attempts to. And this is where I would disagree with this report. It attempts to make the argument that there is a systemic issue inside the Phoenix Police Department that goes back to training and policies that led them to the point where officers were, according to the DOJ report, violating the First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment of people and specifically targeting people of color and the homeless and mentally ill.
Right. So when I look at this, I'm not blind to say there's nothing here. There's nothing wrong. There has to be something going on, okay? But I ask this question. Tell me the one single incident that kicked off the review. Because if you look at federal investigations into city police, there's always one incident, okay? Always. Except here. So unlike in
this wasn't like the George Floyd or one of those things, Rodney King.
So unlike in other federal investigations into city police, there is not a single incident that kicked off this review, which makes me think and scratch my head and say, not so sure. Now, again, Phoenix police officers are not perfect. Phoenix police officers have made mistakes. Phoenix police officers, if they could do it again, a different way, go back in time, I'm sure there are instances that would be the case. But if you hear me say anything today and you take it home with you, the vast majority of Phoenix police officers are good. So when I look at this DOJ report, it's a hit job. It doesn't mean that there's ounces of truth in it. It just reads, everybody here is bad. We have one of the worst police departments in the entire country. The DOJ wants to come in and take over our police department because we can't stop shooting black people, Hispanic people, and Native Americans. And I'm just thinking to myself, my goodness, this is a hit job.
Well, and something changed. And like you said, it doesn't appear to be one big incident that focused the spotlight on Phoenix PD, but something certainly changed in the perception, at least in certain parts of the community, because it appears that there are some people cheering this today. They think this is a good thing moving forward. My question would be, how does this make our community safer?
Well, some would argue that if you believe this report to be fact-based from top to bottom, that this would be a good thing because the Phoenix Police Department will have to retrain, we'll have to change their policies, we'll have to get a new head, all that kind of stuff. It's like a bunch of turnover. I mean, that's
okay, fair. Yeah, okay,
right?
Yes. The answer, yes. The real world, doesn't it also mean, and just follow me on the logic, we already know that Phoenix Police is short I get my thing. Are they short 500 officers?
600, I think.
600 officers already. They're short. They can't hire them. They have the money to pay them. They don't have applicants. They don't have qualified people. Do you think people are going to want to join a police force that is under this kind of scrutiny? Do you think people on that police force now won't be looking to go to other departments or leave policing entirely?
Or they're on the job and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to go over there.
Not getting involved.
No, I'm not getting involved.
Yeah, because I'm going to be painted with the same brush.
I think one of the most asinine things in this DOJ report is the accusation that the Phoenix Police Department trains its officers to escalate situations. Not de-escalate, but escalate situations.
It argues it trains them to do that. And that seems ridiculous.
So we are training our cops to make things harder for them and put their lives in more danger than they already are. So let's say this. I'm trying to think of an example. You and I get in an argument.
Oh boy!
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna escalate this thing. Why would I do that? Wouldn't I try to de-escalate it? If you and I have to get along and do this show for a period of time, whatever our contract says, I'm gonna try and get along with you. Okay. I'm gonna try and de-escalate stuff. There's no way I would go and try and light a fire under your rear end. So I just don't. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't pass the smell test,
right? See, now we're already finishing each other's sentences, which is fantastic.
So
this is good for ratings, Bruce.
I agree,
right?
That it doesn't make their job easier.
What cop is walking over there and saying, "I'm gonna make the situation worse"?
Yeah, how can I stir this up and get worse?
How can I make it more of a disaster?
Right.
I'll escalate the situation.
Right.
That is ridiculous.
Let me see if I can provoke somebody into being violent or something. It doesn't make sense.
I want to provoke that guy, so maybe he'll shiv me.
Right.
Or I'll get shot. That is ridiculous.
I'm trying to think what changed.
Okay.
If you look at the timing of this, and we're going to go with the DOJ specifically looked at, 2016 through 2021, a 5-year period in there.
Correct.
There were some high-profile, not in Phoenix, but some high-profile national cases, if you will, that went around that focused the spotlight on police. And it seems that despite not having one of those incidents, not having a
George
Floyd incident in Phoenix, that the Phoenix Police Department came under the same kind of scrutiny that some of these other departments were. You know, when we talk about the DOJ looking at a police department, and it might be, here's my bias, I'll throw it out there. I saw a documentary on the New Orleans Police Department.
What a disaster that is.
I got to tell you.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Police Department was as close to an organized gang as you could possibly get, and apparently was murdering people for fun. I mean, that's the nicest thing you could say about it. They needed the government to come in and go, you can't do this. Come off of it. Phoenix Police Department's nothing like that. I don't like being lumped in with them.
No, I don't like that either. And the discriminating against Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. Let me ask you a question, because I know we got to go here.
Yeah.
Do you think that the police chief, Jerry Williams, African American, she was the chief from 2016 to 2022, would allow her police officers to discriminate against Black people?
You know,
or Hispanic people?
I met Chief Williams on more than one occasion like you.
No way.
I believe her to be a decent, honorable, professional.
Not under her watch.
Law enforcement officer. Yeah.
Has it happened?
Of course.
Of course things happen.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.